Sawadee-kap. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. Today is our group learning program, and we're in part 3 of a 4-part series where I'm helping students to build up their loving kindness meditation. This is a meditation that's going to help you eliminate all your anger, sadness, frustration, irritation, annoyance, all the annoyance, the dislike in the mind, any kind of negative dislike that you have towards yourself, diminishing and degrading thoughts. This is the meditation that you need to be doing. Of course, with other things too, but this is what's going to really transform your mind and transform your relationships. Because as long as you have anger, hatred, and ill will, and any of those lesser versions like annoyance and even the slightest dislike towards others, there's still anger in the mind. It's maybe a lesser version, but it's still there, and it's going to impact your intentions, speech, and actions, the way you interact with other people. So you need to uproot this out of the mind. At the same time, you're working to bring down your cravings, desires, attachments. You need to break up this anger and get it out of the mind. And then go out into the world and be loving and kind through your intentions, your speech, and your actions. It's this meditation that's going to help essentially fill up your gas tank so that you can go out into the world and be loving and kind with all beings around you. So I'd like to welcome you, whether you're joining for the first time or you're joining regularly, and at the same time invite you to join for this meditation. I'm going to start with some chanting to ease us into the meditation, which you guys are welcome to join in on. I'm going to come in with guidance on breathing mindfulness meditation, and then we'll be doing that for a short period of time. And then I'm going to come in with some phrases to help you to understand how to do the loving kindness meditation. You're going to be repeating these in your own mind on the out breath. Then we're going to go back to breathing mindfulness. Then we're going to come out of the meditation with chanting. And then I'm going to open up to any and all questions that you guys have related to the teachings of the Buddha or any kind of personal challenges that you might have. So you're welcome to ask any and all questions that you like. So if you'd like to take a position, either seated, lying, or standing, these work really well with loving kindness meditation. The walking position isn't something that we normally do with the loving kindness meditation. So I'm going to guide you guys in this session, and you guys are welcome to join in at any time that you like. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Makewa Otang Makewanang Apiwateyami Sawakato Makewata Tammo Dhammang namasami Supatipano bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang namami Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicacaranang sammuno Sakatoro kavitu Anutero purisa Dhamma sati satatawa manusanang Bhutto Bhagavati. Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect. Just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath. A nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled, just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up to the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathing gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing the full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start focusing the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind fixated on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Then I'll be back with more guidance on loving kindness meditation. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. Continuing to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Repeat these affirmations in the mind on the out breath. May I be peaceful. May I be safe. May I be well. May I be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May mom and dad be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May my family, friends, co-workers, and neighbors all be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all those who have caused me harm be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all those who I have harmed be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all beings, wherever they reside, be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be well. May all beings be free of discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. Now return back to breathing mindfulness meditation, focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Breathing in and out. Arahang Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhaṃ Bhagavantang Abhivateyami Savakato Bhagavata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti Piso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho We chacharanang sammono sakatoro kavitu anutero purisa Dhamma sati satatava manusarang Bhoto Bhagavati. Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation. Once again, welcome to all of you guys, whether you're joining in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, or maybe you're listening to this on the replay or the recording. Welcome to everyone. What this was loving kindness meditation. This is going to help you to transform your mind away from anger, hatred, and ill will, and all the lesser versions like frustration, agitation, annoyance. By the time you get to enlightenment, you won't even have the slightest dislike towards other beings. That dislike is coming from one's own mind. Oftentimes we think that it's other people that are causing us to dislike them, but it's your mind's expectations and wanting this person to be a certain way that is causing you to dislike them. So while you're working to eliminate your craving, desire, attachments, and knocking that down with all the other teachings of the Buddha, you also need to uproot this anger, hatred, and ill will and all those lesser versions as well. Always remember that this meditation is working to transform your mind. It's not to change other people. It's not to try to invoke some kind of special power from somebody to change other people. It's actually transforming your mind to essentially fill up your gas tank so that you can go out into the world and be loving and kind through your intentions, speech, and actions. This is what's going to ultimately transform your mind and transform your relationships. Because when you're being loving and kind and warm and gentle in your relationships, and that's what you're putting out, more and more, that's what's coming back to you. Because loving kindness is a genuine interest in seeing all beings be well, active goodwill towards all beings without any judgment. You're not interested in judging others to determine whether or not they deserve your love and your kindness, but instead, you would like to just be loving and kind with everybody and anybody, with no conditions needing to be met. You're not interested in conditional love, even though there's no such thing as conditional love, where someone has to meet all these conditions and all these expectations, and then I will love them. Instead, you would like to practice loving kindness with all beings, breaking through any kind of wall of resentment or irritation or irritability that you've erected between you and other people. You would like to break all that down. So you can customize this for your specific needs. If you have certain people in your life or certain people in the past that you have craving, anger, and ignorance, that you have this hostility and bitterness where you're being maybe aggressive or you're having resentful thoughts in your mind. Like I said, whether they're in your life now or they're in your past, you can include them in your meditation. Where I'm just doing general phrases that apply to all of us, you can customize this using specific names or groups of individuals. If you hate all police officers, or you have dislike towards politicians or lawyers, or any type of group of individuals or actual an individual themselves, you would like to include a ring in your loving kindness meditation for that group of people or those people for an extended period of time until your mind no longer has that anger, hatred, and ill will towards them. So this meditation is going to be fluid. It's going to need to be customized as you go. When I first started this, I did a lot of rings for myself and my mom because I had a lot of negative self-talk within my own mind, and I had a lot of resentment towards my mom growing up. So for probably the first 6 months, it was just her and I in there and all beings. But then over time, you can move people in and out of your meditations in order to get to the point where your mind has love and kindness for all beings. When you get to the point where you haven't seen any anger or frustration or agitation or even the slightest annoyance towards any beings whatsoever for like 6 months to a year, at that point, you're not going to need this meditation anymore. But you're going to need to go that extended period of time where you're not seeing even the slightest dislike towards other beings, where you can smile and be loving and kind with all beings around you. So as I mentioned, I'm going to open up to any questions that you guys might have related to this meditation or any other aspect of your practice or any challenges that you're having. You can put that into Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom in the comments section, and I'll be able to see that and answer your question. Or in Zoom, you can electronically raise your hand, unmute your microphone, and ask any questions that way. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, it looks like Paul has a question. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, David. I wanted to ask a question for some time now. When reading the book there, karma, am I pronouncing it right? Like karma is what a lot of people still use, but the Pali Canon version is it karma? Is it with a K? Kamma. Was when you say it, it almost sounds like with a G or something.
Yeah, so the Sanskrit language is pronounced karma, right? And then the Pali version, which is what the original teachings of the Buddha are in, so people who study his teachings will usually say Gamma. So it does have a little...
Again,
hold on.
It sounds like a G.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of a G sound. This is probably a little bit picking up from Thai language as well. So it's Gamma. Right? So that's the way you would say it in the Pali language. But of course, you're going to hear variations of this, just like English has different accents and dialogues and, things like this, or dialects. You will hear slight variations in the way people pronounce it. So there's not just one right way to pronounce it, but I would suggest you use the word gamma rather than karma, because karma is from the Sanskrit language, but karma tends to be more popular because people tend to know that word more readily.
Again, though, when you say it, it's like with a G, but it's spelled with a K.
Yeah.
Should I pronounce it like a G if I want to do it the Pali Canon way? So say gamma, not karma. Yeah. Gamma, not karma.
Yeah, we're trying to take an oral language that was oral and didn't have a written script, and we're trying to use, our alphabet to represent this oral tradition. So we don't have as much options with only 26 characters, right? So like the Thai language, they have 44 consonants. I think they have 26 vowels with 5 tonal markers. So they can really transcribe this language and really get it down and fine tune it. Where with the English characters, we don't really have that amount of flexibility. So it is a little bit of a G sound in there. It's gamma, gamma, gamma,
okay.
Gamma, gamma, okay. Gamma, 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 comedian. Right? Remember that song?
Yeah. It's on. But it was she was doing it with a K? In that song?
I think that might have been a C.
Comma, chameleon.
Yeah. So
it's gamma. Okay, so it's not it's just, I'm going to start doing that as imagining it's a G, even though it's a K in writing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then lastly, I had an experience of that, a negative experience. I got negative gamma from bad behavior, which I do a lot of. I've got a long way to go. So for instance, just an example, the other day I was in a store, and it was early in the morning, so they only had one person on cash, and I had my item, and I was in a long lineup. It was like 5 people in front of me. And you know how it goes where when they realize that, they finally open another cash, and then they say, okay, now come over, there's another cash open. What you should do is you should politely look around you and make sure that you're not jumping ahead. But I didn't look behind me. I just went straight for that cash, the new cash. And but others beat me to it. Well, it's because they were already in that vicinity. So I wasn't going ahead of them, but they were in front of me, so I couldn't go past them. But the people that I was in line with, there were some that were in front of me that should have gone before me, but I jumped ahead of them. But I still had people in front of me, and the person in front of me seemed to be, one of these people who had a lot to say and was returning stuff, and it was going slow. I looked over at the first cache and saw there's only one person left. So I left that line, went over to the other cache, and the person in front of me there was notoriously long. So long that when I finally got my transaction done, the second cache, all the people were already through. So in my bad behavior of trying to beat the system, I ended up last out of everybody.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just an example of gamma, doing bad and getting bad in return. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I just don't use the word bad though. But what you were doing there is you were making decisions through your craving, through your longing, yearning to probably hurry up and get out of that store, right?
Exactly.
And now, whenever you make decisions through craving, anger or ignorance, which are the three poisons or the three unwholesome roots, it's going to produce unwholesome results for you. So you can see with your craving jumping around from line to line to line, it actually made it longer for you. Whereas if you would have just been patient and just stayed in whatever line, you would have been out of there. But that's not what your mind was interested to do. It was having this longing, yearning. So whenever you make decisions through craving, anger, and ignorance, it's going to produce unwholesome results. So that's the Eightfold Path, that moral conduct and all the other factors on the Eightfold Path is helping you to reduce and eliminate your craving, anger, and ignorance so that you're making more and more wise decisions. So for example, like right speech, where the Buddha teaches you to eliminate harsh speech, for example. When an individual is speaking harsh, he teaches you to eliminate other types of speech too, but when an individual is speaking harsh, it's coming from your craving, from your anger, from your ignorance, thinking that being aggressive and hostile and bitter, this person, I'm going to get what I want. And now when you're being unskillful through your intentions and speech in this case, then it's going to produce unwholesome results. People are going to yell and holler back at you. People are going to go away from you. You're going to end the relationships. People aren't going to be interested in having relationships with you. And this is the unwholesome gamma, or the unwholesome results of the decisions that you are making. So every decision you make is going to produce a certain effect. And what you're looking to do is get your practice closer and closer to practicing generosity, loving kindness, and wisdom. So had you have said to the people in front of you, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, sir, would you like to go ahead? This is your generosity. This is your loving kindness, and this would be your wisdom, but your mind's not up and running to that degree yet in all situations. So that's where you look at a situation like this, you reflect on it, you learn from it, and then you learn to do better next time. And then that's where you don't have to beat yourself up and feel guilty about it, but you just learn from it and cultivate more wisdom. So we teach you how to eliminate the pollutions out of your mind, and we teach you wise decision making, but then this is where your practice really is happening. Where I've shared with you before, we've had conversations where I've explained to you, it's not just meditation that's going to lead to your enlightenment. And you can see in these situations like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter how much I'm meditating. If I'm not generous and loving and kind at the grocery store, then how could I even think that I'm, going to make my way to enlightenment? I need to take these qualities that I'm cultivating in meditation and bring it into my day-to-day decision making. And that's where things are really transforming.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I'm thinking of generosity, I'm thinking, more traditional, or going out and helping people or giving them money or stuff like that. But this was just, being in the store and doing the right things. And I left the store, and I was annoyed, and then it took a few moments after being annoyed that I realized what happened. And I felt like at least I recognized it. Like that's how much I've evolved.
Yeah.
Not to the point of being a good person, but to the point of recognizing wrong behavior, and so that I got bad karma back. All right, I know, not bad. I got unwholesome karma back.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
I would get away from that good, bad, right, wrong thing, because that sounds like black and white and there's only one right answer. Instead, think about, I didn't make wise decisions here. I made some unwise decisions. And those unwise decisions led to this unwholesome karma or this unwholesome results. But now the beauty in this is I can look at it, I can reflect on it, I can cultivate wisdom, and then I can aim to do better in the future. And that's where you don't have to beat yourself up about this, realizing that you're a work in progress. You didn't get to this point in 1 month or 6 months or 1 year, and you're not going to transform your mind in that short period of time either. So this is where like it really actually becomes quite fun, because you start understanding why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. Instead of like blaming other people and being mad at the world, you can look at it and be like, whoa, I see exactly why this happened. This is the natural laws. And now your mind's awakening to that wisdom, and it can actually be so fun and enjoyable. It's almost like a home improvement project that you're figuring out these new tools, you're using them in certain situations. It's like, this is your home right here. This mind is your home, and you're working on this project. And it's like, wow, there's a lot of work to do here, you know? Yeah, so that's good. It sounds like you had a little bit of a breakthrough there, Paul.
Well, in as much as I, even though I didn't do it well, and then I even did it worse by beating myself up a bit when I came out, at least I recognized it. So thank you, David. That's what I just wanted to share.
That's the name of the game, is looking at it, cultivating wisdom, and improving each day, right? That's the name of the game. And by you being able to do that, you're in a better place today than you were yesterday, so to speak, right? Because in the past, we might have just plowed through that, blamed everybody else for what you were experiencing, and then never been able to cultivate the wisdom to do things differently in the future. Where now you at least have the wisdom to see like, that was unwise. I should do that better next time. And that's a benefit. That's success. So that's why you don't have to think about it as a failure or you were bad or you were wrong. No, there was a lot of success there, and focus on that. And that's what's going to motivate your practice and give you enthusiasm to keep growing as an individual rather than thinking in a guilty or shameful way.
Okay, then. Thank you, David.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to go to Ted and or Kristen.
Hi, David. Good evening. A couple of things that come to mind, and it's funny that Paul mentioned that. I know I've asked Kristen at least a handful of times, is he saying comma with a G or a K? And I've just surrendered to saying it the way it comes out, trying to aim toward the way we say it here. Maybe it's KGAMMA, but anyway, I just an observation, the correlation between I've been in a 12-step program for a long time, and we tend to, one of the suggestions is to pray for someone that is irritating me, or I don't think is going down the right road, or politicians you had mentioned, and that's like the top of my list. And you had mentioned to incorporate that in the loving kindness meditation, specific people or situations or institutions which really trouble me. So I love that, and it's just another parallel that I'm already trying to live. And the examples that Paul were given me, I love the fact that a lesson is learned, like I do something unwholesome, that the lesson is immediately following, as opposed to doing something. The first thing that came to mind was driving like an idiot to pass someone going slow in the fast lane, and then we get to the light and we both end up at the light just the same speed, so I'm in a hurry to get around them, but then we're at the light again, together, and it just it reminds me of, okay, maybe I should take it a little easy and drive normal. So that lesson is learned, but if I do something today and my karma comes back, a month later from this situation, it's hard for me to put two and two together. But as I'm speaking, I'm answering my own question in my head, is just to always aim one day at a time toward being more wholesome in my actions and trying to live the Eightfold Path, especially the moral conduct.
Yeah. This is where I share that the natural law of gamma is the most unbiased teacher you will ever find, because it's going to show you every single moment where you're making wise decisions and where you're making unwise decisions. So one of the best things you can do is, like, whenever anything unwholesome is coming back to you, is look at it and be like, oh my goodness, this appears to be unwholesome gamma. Let me look at this. What were the decisions that I made that led to this? And let's just say you get that notice 3 years later in the mail from the government saying, hey, you owe us $3,000. Well, what did I do? Oh, I rushed through my taxes. I didn't look at them thoroughly. I didn't hire a professional to look at them closely. And I did kind of lie because I was really tight on money back then and I really wanted to keep it for myself. I made these decisions that led to this penalty and interest and this thing that I'm getting in the mail. So even though it's like 3 years later, you can look at it in retrospect and say, what were the decisions I made that led to this? But, you can also do this with wholesome things too. When you're experiencing something wholesome, you can be like, what decisions did I make that led to this situation? Because you'd like to make more decisions like that. Right. And that's where, like I used to do this sometimes daily, at the very least every week, where I would look at my life kind of in retrospect. And I would look over the day or I look over the week and I'd be like, what did I do well? Right. And I'd like kind of walk through all of those things like, I would like to make more of those types of decisions. Well, what did I not do well? And then I would look at those decisions and I would really catalog it in my mind and really aim to do better. And this is where you can cultivate a lot of wisdom, because your teacher can teach you a certain amount of things, but we're not in your day-to-day life with you. So that's where you need to be your own independent practitioner to be able to see these kinds of things. So if you guys are cultivating wisdom in these situations, that's what you would like to be doing. And that's going to really help you in tremendous ways. Okay. So I don't see any other questions anywhere. Don't see anything else coming up. So maybe what I'll do then is just end class here by thanking all of you guys. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your interest to learn. Thank you for coming to class to meditate. As you guys need help, you're always welcome to ask questions in class. You can post on our Facebook group. You can send me private messages, and you can schedule personal guidance from our website where we can sit down and talk in Zoom one-on-one, or if we're in the same town, we can talk face-to-face. So thank you guys for your dedication and your diligence to learning. Next Wednesday, I'm going to be in part 4 of our loving kindness meditation. And then that's where we'll kind of wrap this up. And then after that, we're going to go into a 4-part series on Buddhist chanting, so you guys can learn the Buddhist chanting. This Sunday in the group learning program, I'm going to be teaching chapter 3 of our book, Developing a Life Practice, The Path That Leads to Enlightenment. This chapter is titled Enlightenment. What is enlightenment? This is where I'm going to teach you all the ins and outs of what enlightenment is, so that way you'll understand it and be able to more readily navigate your way to it. If you didn't understand what enlightenment was or is, you wouldn't be able to navigate your way to it. So this is a chapter right up front at the beginning of the book to help students to understand what it is. So again, thank you all for joining, and perhaps I'll see you guys in one of these future classes. Be well and take care. Sawadee krap. Thank you again for watching. Enjoy your meditation. Look forward to seeing you online and answering any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.